Oscar.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we made it back to another evening edition of Dogging It, and I got some pretty great guests. Not Oscar, of course. I'm talking about the great Mike Pinozzo of Barry's Digest. Mike, how are you, my man?
Good, good. Always to be here in such heavy company.
Yeah, man. My boy up top doesn't need much of an introduction either. Oscar Dominguez of man, you got so many hats these days, man. It's Oscar Dominguez, the pro pool player, Oscar Dominguez, the owner of Hard Times in Sacramento, Oscar Dominguez, the owner of Golden State Billiards right next
Mm-hmm.
door. What else am I missing? Oh, of course, dad
Uh,
and husband and all those other,
uh,
very important things.
Right, right. I mean, it's just I just keep adding stuff to my plate. Now, Junior Nationals tournament director with Desiree
Coming up in a few weeks, right? We're
coming
gonna
up in
be
a few
there.
weeks. So excited for that. Just
Matter of
yeah,
fact,
there's
Mike's gonna be there too, right, Mike? You're gonna be there for
I'll,
the BCA trade show.
oh
yeah,
beautiful.
I'll be there too. So yeah, we'll all hang.
Yeah,
You
absolutely. You'll pick the restaurant.
guys gonna have a lot of time on your hands.
Yeah, a lot of time.
I'm looking
It's
forward to it.
gonna be fun.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
we appreciate you cleaning up, man, for the show. You're giving us the Dominic Dunn look for coming on, you know.
Yeah, man. I mean, I was in Paris and London, and then I got home for 3 days, and I was like, I had scheduled my haircut. Then my barber canceled on me, and then I'm like, oh crap. Desiree's like, I can cut your hair. I'm like, no, I'm cool.
Hopefully she's not watching because you got to
Yeah,
go back next door in a little bit.
I'm cool, babe. I love you, but I'm
you
cool.
walk in the door, she's got the razor. You know you're in trouble.
Oh, I know, right?
Yeah.
Well, you've been
Whew.
doing pretty good, Oscar. You've been all over the place. You've been traveling around,
Hmm.
back into what seems like more of a pro pool player kind of vibe over the last few months, traveling the globe.
Yeah, it's been nice to kind of get away from the business for a little bit, really take a step back, and it's funny because after the tournament was over in New Jersey, I just told Desiree, I'm like, I'm sick of playing pool. I want to go back to work for a little bit, just kind of because I feel like I'm neglecting my business a little bit,
Yeah.
and it doesn't feel good. I don't like it, and I said, let me go back to work, focus on that for a few weeks, and then I can go back to playing a little bit more.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been playing.
Tell me real quick before we jump into New Jersey. Tell me about Europe. How you felt it went over there. What you learned over there. What you saw.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, we went to the UK Open. That was a ton of fun. Matchroom always throws a really nice production, really nice event. Um, you know, there's there's lots of things to be said about like the format with the whole one ball on the spot and the magic rack, winter break. It's a crapshoot, yes, but
A
at
little
least
gaffy.
I, I mean, at least it's a race to nine. At least it's someone's got to beat you. And I like the equipment over there. It was all right. I mean, I don't mind it. I mean, I would prefer nine on the spot or 10 ball or something like that where you have a little bit more play.
Don't say that word in Matchroom, buddy.
From
No,
a
you know what?
but
I'll tell you what though. When the last day, Emily actually said, "This isn't going to sell. I don't think the one ball on the spot's the game. I think the nine on the spot with a small break box is the game." And I kind of wanted to like tell her like, "That's what we've been saying this whole time." You know what I mean?
Right.
yeah,
I kind of wanted to like, but I think it took Emily a true understanding of the caliber of play right now is so high. One on the spot, there's 100 people out of the 128 player field, or two of the two. Say there's 128 players, 100 of them can realistically make the final four, final eight players
Because of the break.
because of the break, and you need a pretty large degree of luck. You
yes,
need them to make a mistake that they shouldn't. That's when the intimidation factor comes into play, and being like a Shane Van Boning helps. They seem to dog it a little bit more against you than an Oscar Dominguez. They play perfect on me. But
No,
again,
but it is a little gaffy at times, but kudos to them, like you said, for at least being aware with it. I know we've heard Emily go and say afterwards just that they're looking to go and adjust it, and at
Hmm.
least they're open minded to it because a lot of times some of these promoters can kind of like dig their heels in and say no, we're right and we're not going to go and change. But at times, even going back to the Masters, not just the UK Open, it was like that wing ball was just flying with
Oh man,
consistency over and over and
it's
over.
monotonous. There's
Right.
no. I mean, that's the thing. You want some variance.
Right. And they thought they could get away with trying to make people break hard because that made it a little more interesting when they used wooden rack and make people. But even then, people were cut breaking, soft breaking, whatever, and that's an impossible thing to police in a
Hmm.
It
television
really is.
these other matches. So I think that what they do realize is they have to find something that's uniform, something that's fair, and something that they don't have to police all the time, where fans, where they've got to explain to fans what they're doing and why. It was like the
Right.
3-point thing and all that kind of garbage. They were just making the game worse. So I think they're trying to simplify it, but still make it fair. And don't you think that they'll end up with the 9 on the spot?
Yeah, it's going to have to. I mean, it's if the 9 on the spot isn't used, and I mean, the thing is, like you look at the Euro Tour, you see so many of these guys figure out the break. I mean, eventually this is going to be figured out by the elite players. That's okay because they're the ones putting in the most work, putting in the most practice. But when, stop shot Joe comes in and breaks and runs a rack on you because they just do a stop shot, it's boring. I
Right.
mean, I don't want to see that. Now, if there's a skill involved, like the 10 ball break is so much skill on the break, in my opinion. You have to have that degree of pop, the catching the second balls. Um, that's why all the gamblers play 10 ball. Like if someone says I'll play some 9 ball for 10,000, I'll just laugh in their face.
I, I think at this point it's a matter of investment as
Hmm.
much as anything. Why Matchroom will never switch from 9 ball to 10 ball.
Yeah,
It's kind of, you have to accept that in Matchroom events you're going to play 9 ball from now until the day you die. They've just
As in they've invested in the game for decades, right, Mike? Is
yeah,
that what you're saying?
everything that they've done has been 9 ball. That's why they just made 9 ball one word, or when they got the U.S. Open and the World Championship, they didn't call it the World 9 ball Championship. They call it the World Pool Championship. They've branded 9 ball as pool. Okay, so if you've spent all that much time and all that much money in all those years,
Well,
you know,
I'm
you're really not going to just go change the game.
I think they wanna make it as exciting as you can, like you said, without having to go and educate too much, right? So
But
and that
exciting. I
that
mean,
cut break when you're in the box can be exciting because the cue ball's got a level of scratching quite a bit, to a
yeah,
certain degree, when you're using that break box in the 9 on the spot.
yeah. I mean, it takes a really good effort to do a good break.
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, yeah, I mean that was a fun event, and you ended up coming back, and I know you're going around to a lot of places, and one of them was this past weekend out in New Jersey. And how was your experience out there, buddy?
Mhm. I mean, it was all right. I mean, I felt like the first day I was playing really well. I felt like I was playing pretty damn good. I gave your boy Lucas a big spot.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, he's got a lot of gamble.
yeah, vicious. I outran it, but then at the end, I quit just because I honestly wanted to get out of there for the night. But the tournament was disappointing. 32 players only. Um, now I had paid attention to the fine print. It was 5,000 added based on the full field. I was aware of that.
I didn't think
Um,
they did that anymore. I didn't think any promoter did that anymore.
you know what? I mean, I really like Ed, and I've gone along really well with him over the years. But anytime you do that, I felt like I don't like telling people how to run their business, and I I'm not, I've been in the business only for what 3 years, and as a pool hall owner, and I don't know everything, and I will never claim to know everything, but I felt like you open yourself up to a lot of complaints, a lot of discussion. That guarantee that based on you're just asking for trouble
Yeah,
because no one's going to read the flyer. No one's ever they see the 5,000 big bold and that's it, and it sucks because why is it my fault that you didn't get the support if I'm flying out there?
Right.
Why am I being punished?
Right.
The worst part of it is now I got third place. I'm not a fan of the Brunswicks that they have there, but that's neither here nor there. They try the best they can with what they have. I'm cool with that. It's not nobody's fault. What I don't like is that because of this added situation, if they would have really added 5,000, I got $1,335. I would have gotten $2,000. So now if I don't make the Moscone Cup because of $700 or
Right.
700 points because other people didn't show up, how am I going to feel?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, why am I getting punished because other people, A, didn't want to make the sacrifice to go out there, or B, didn't want to spend the money? Like, it's just, I mean, I don't know. That's my main issue, really, with the whole added money situation. $30 green fees. It would have been nice to know that ahead of time. Um,
We appreciate that you don't like to tell people how to run their business, but that's what we're here for. So you got us you got us. We're more than happy to say,
yeah,
added based on entry is such a 1985 that it's ridiculous that would even still be part of the equation. And I will, I don't know if you agree with this, Matt, or not, Oscar, but I will say, I hold Matchroom at fault for some of this too. If they're going to make this a ranking event, they've got to hold these guys to a higher standard. And I understand we're going to wait a year to get to a standard on pocket size, things like that. But prize money, there should have been minimum added prize money to be in this list, and it should have been guaranteed. And they probably didn't even think to ask or to demand that added money was guaranteed because nobody doesn't do that anymore. I mean, I was astonished when I heard that it was based on entry. That doesn't make any sense, does it?
it doesn't. And you know what's so frustrating is that there's another event in October coming up. That's another ranking event at the same place, same. And that's okay. I will go support Ed, just like I said, just because I like Ed as a person. And felt like I felt it's a mistake. And it's really, like you said, it's Matchroom's fault, I think. I think Matchroom made a real big boo-boo. I'll add 5,000 myself right now. 10,000 I'll add to have a ranking event at my pool hall. I mean, I'll do it next week. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's just, and I'll guarantee it if 4 people show up. I mean, it's just, it's frustrating as a player.
Caught them off guard because they just assumed that, that a bunch of people they're trying to get point tournaments in Europe and in the U.S. so that players don't feel like they have to overseas every time for a points tournament. So that makes sense. I think they're trying to do the right thing. I just think that they went off a little half-cocked with some of these promoters that they made deals with and didn't really check all the fine print or put stipulations on them for what they had to do to be a points event. Because, like you said, if you come up $700 short because only 32 people showed up,
That's pretty strong. That's
that's
real strong.
it's brutal. It's a brutal penalty to pay. And we talked last week with the gentleman from WPA about 5%, fee to WPA. Well, what's a green fee? I mean, a greens fee is a ridiculous thing in a professional 9-ball tournament. Ridiculous.
I agree.
I don't understand that, and that must not have been known to Matchroom. It must not, obviously, was not known to the players ahead of time, or it was in fine print. And that's something that you learn by all these experiences, and you just hope that this is cracked down on like yesterday.
I think it takes spotlighting like this to go and really make, whether it's players or promoters or where. I think I think they deserve a pass in the sense that it's the first year and they're gonna have growing pains. I
Right.
think going forward though, you're gonna have a lot of promoters and room owners want to have the prestige of having a rankings event at your place and go and guarantee the money. I think it's pretty absurd to go and have it based off of a quote unquote full field for that type of event. It's different. If you want to go and hold your monthly 9-ball tournament or whatever, okay, that's whatever you want to go and do. But if you want these guys to go around the country and chase them, there has to be a minimum, a guaranteed minimum that they're going to go and add, no matter the field, because it's nobody's fault that it wasn't a full one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna let you guys in on a secret that a lot of probably room owners aren't gonna say. There's a huge stigma that pool room owners lose money during tournaments, right? I mean, I
Right.
think that's pretty much across. We lose Mike.
Yeah, Mike's out of it. Mike's over it already. It's all right. Max
He's
has got
gonna,
him already.
yeah, he's on tilt. I mean, what I was gonna say was the secret is that it's not. Oh, there you are, Mike.
We
I
thought they
was
got you, buddy.
I was going to mention about the stigma that pool room owners lose money during tournaments. It's a lot of work. There's extra employees, extra payroll, et cetera, et
No doubt.
cetera. But it's actually not as bad as people make it out to seem. I actually am profitable. Now, my limitation, full disclosure, is about $5,000 added to $6,000 added. And then after that is when I start losing. So when I have these 10K added events, I lose money. Okay. 5,000 added is like my sweet spot where I get just enough players to where I can make some money. So like this whole stigma that pool room owners lose money, it's extra work and a lot of people don't want to do it. That's what it comes down to.
Okay, but let me ask you this. So we have an event. It's scheduled for X amount of days, right? Fine print. You're saying 5 grand based off a full field. Now
Mhm.
they're taking a green fee, but that green fee is based off of an event through X amount of days, right? Basically, you're ballparking the amount of work you're going to have to do and going and wanting to be compensated. Am I understanding that right? More or
Yeah.
less.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, totally.
But the event was cut a day short, right? It finished
Mhm.
up a day short. So if you're going to prorate added money, why not go and prorate a green fee back? Are, am I
I
too
mean,
off base here, Mike? Mike's got a little bit of a giggle here.
Out of base, it would have kicked another $5-10 into the kitty, but I don't think it would have made Oscar's trip any better.
yeah, I mean it's $320 difference. I mean, it really would at that point just
But isn't it more
whatever.
about principle? Like if you're gonna, I don't want to say be nitty because I think it's a strong word in this case. But if you're gonna nitpick that much, you're taking out 1,000 from what that post said a shark, taking out 1,000 for tables. You're going and charging the green fee here. You got half of what you expected, so now you're going and adding half the money. If that's how it's gonna be, why not be across the board? But when it starts to affect the money you were gonna be guaranteed to getting, now it's like now you're pumping the brakes a little bit. Am I missing something here?
No, you're not missing anything.
No.
No, yeah, dude. There's a lot of logic to what you're saying. It's just that,
But
you know,
none of those things should be in these events, period. There should not be a reduction in prize money. There should not be a green fee. If you're doing what you're going to call a professional 9-ball tour, it's a ranking tour for world tournaments and international play and matchroom invitation events. You got to be a pro event. And
yeah.
it just sounded like 1985 to me.
Why do you
Yeah.
think there wasn't a turnout from more of, let's say, the top American players to go out there and support the event? I mean, I don't think Shane's on any kind. I think Shane's one of the ones that gets a pass because, for one, prize money wise, he's no threat. And even if he wasn't number one in the prize money, I don't think he'd be a threat to not make that team.
Right. Well,
I'm
what was your take, Oscar, on why the field was so small?
wow. I mean, I got a couple of reasons. I got a couple theories as to why. Number one,
We're here
why
for theories.
Shane and Billy aren't going because they're the favorites for the wild cards. Let's be realistic. Let's call a spade a spade. They're the top American players, and they bring a big dynamic to Matchroom, and they've, they deservingly so, in my opinion. Regarding participation, 300 entry fee is too tough right now for people who are going to donate, quote unquote. So the fillers are not there, like the softer field. As far as the other top Americans, 5,000 doesn't make sense with flights being so expensive. It's just even if he were to add the 5,000, it's not enough money for people to travel to. 5,000, in my opinion, I've always said this, is a really good regional tournament.
Oh, event, for sure. 100%.
Like if you have a 5,000 added in San Francisco or Sacramento, for example, I should have Oregon, I should have Washington State, Nevada, Arizona, maybe Idaho every once in a while, but that's it. If you have it in New Jersey, I mean, it should be that tri-state area and a couple other surrounding states. that's pretty much it. Considering the expenses to get there nowadays, it's getting worse.
What
My
would a
flight was $1,000 to New Jersey from
normal
Sacramento.
entry be for a 5,000 headed tournament regionally, do you think?
I'm sorry.
What
What
would
was
a
that, Mike?
normal entry fee be for a 5,000 headed regional event?
I mean, buck 50, 200.
Yeah, about 5,200, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's if you want a lot of the lower tier players. Like for me, I have a different business model. I know this sounds really bad, and I hope it doesn't come across the wrong way to the general public. And I hope I'm not misquoted. When I have a tournament, I really don't cater to the pro players. Okay. I cater to that whole 600 to 700 Fargo rate, the 550 to 650 Fargos. Those are the people that go in who work a 9 to 5, weekend warriors. They swipe their debit card and they're not worried about a $6 beer. It's just the way it is. That's my demographic. So my goal is to fill up my events with 100 plus players because I have 33 tables and 14,000 square feet. Okay. I'm in a different position. Ed's pool room's a lot smaller, and he needs to do a higher entry fee to make his payouts look better. Does that make sense? And also, another thing that got me on total tilt was that there was no structure in payouts. First prize was 4,400. Greg Hogue won the tournament, deservingly. So he actually played really well that whole tournament. He earned it. He really impressed me with how he played. Same with Danny Olson, played pretty solid the whole tournament. First and second paid good, and then boom, 1,300. How do you go from almost 5,000 for first to 1,300 for third? I mean, it's a winner take all event, basically. You know what I mean? Why?
Do you think it was more of that? I want to be part of that matchroom event and say my pool room was a part of that matchroom event and whatever it takes.
It's possible. I mean, obviously they wanted to be part of a matchroom event. That's why he wanted to get into it. And maybe by making top prize, larger, you may actually impact a player's chances to make the team. Because if every 4 guys walked out of there with 2,100, it's not really moving the line at all, right? But someone walks out over 5,000, they got a decent bump up the ranking. So maybe that was part of it. But, as far as Matchroom goes, Matchroom needs to keep a tighter lid on this stuff and not allow this to happen again.
Have you heard of any other of these events, whether domestic or abroad, that have had these kind of issues when it comes to added money?
No.
I don't think I have.
No, Euro Tour's guaranteed. Now I can dog on the Euro Tour all I want if I really want to, but I give them a lot of credit. If there's something going on, there's an event that happens, and they get 60 players, the same prize money is going to be paid. They guarantee that prize structure. So when you fly out there, you fly from, Germany to Slovakia to go play that tournament. You know exactly what you're getting if you come in 17 to 24th, and you know exactly what you're getting in second place. It doesn't matter, which I appreciate. You can pick your expenses, but when you go out there, you fly to New Jersey, and you're in the final 8 players, and you have no idea what you're making, and you're kind of like, okay, what's the payouts here? What am I got?
On last day,
I'm playing the hot seat, and I still don't know what the payouts are. Now, hear me out. I hate to sound like a pompous, arrogant prick, and I'm trying not to be. I'm in a position now in my life where I can, I work for a living. Pool's not my primary source of income. Anything I make in pool is kind of like my fun money. It's my extra money. Okay. I'm very blessed. I wasn't very blessed a few years ago. And I would have lost my mind if I depended on playing pool for a living. Oh.
No, you're good.
Yeah, want me to go back and forth?
Yeah, I don't know what the hell happened to Mike. Mike's camera turned sideways. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead, buddy.
Okay. Are we still live?
Yeah. No. We're good.
Okay.
You're good. It was more for Mike.
Oh, okay. And sorry. And anyways, I didn't like that. I mean, when I have my tournaments, I post the payouts by the second round. That's just the way I do. I figure out the money, and if there's any complaints or any issues, address them to me before we get to that stage. Because I've made mistakes where I overpaid and I underpaid once, and I felt like a total jack. So, mistakes are made. So it's good to get it out of the way now. And if you're only going to add 2,500, that's okay. Just deal with the backlash. Whatever.
Yeah.
You have to protect your business by all means. And I wasn't upset at Ed, or I don't have any resentment towards Ed for adding 2,500 based on, because again, I read the fine print and I was aware of it, and I already had it.
Right.
I had the expectation that only half of it was going to be added. I would have been shocked if he would have added all five. But I mean,
But
it's
do you think that maybe these player lists for events like this should be maybe more public so that way you know what you're actually jumping into? I mean,
yeah,
like would that be a fair argument?
yeah. I mean, it's easy. I mean, I don't know why it's not across the board, Mike. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm adding 10,000 for a juniors tournament. No, it's a total loss. The kids are going to spend money at the bar. They're going to be eating chicken strips and French fries. There's no margin there. It's all loss leaders. But I'm just hoping that the parents go in there and drink a lot of beer and watch. And, it's just, I'm hoping that they sweat, and they're drinking lots of beer, watching their kids play, and they bring auntie and uncle who drink, a 24 pack of Corona by themselves. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. There's different ways of doing business. I don't agree with it.
Yeah, I think yeah, Mike, I think your audio might be out, my man. See if you can come out and come back in and and maybe that'll go and refresh the audio. Yeah, I think it's pretty tough, man, to go and ask guys to go with everything going on. I get it. You have to have a certain level of responsibility from someone going and joining something when it comes to fine print. But I think it falls more on Matchroom shoulders for me to go and hold these guys accountable and set new standards to make sure things like this don't happen again. And I'm sure to an extent, maybe it's embarrassing, maybe it's not. But for you guys, you have to get a fair shake for everything that you're going and doing as far as expense wise, to trying to go and chase that carrot, so to speak.
Right. I mean, Matchroom should be very selective of when they give that approval, that stamp of
Right.
approval, that Matchroom 9-ball ranking event. That stamp is powerful. It means something. That's why people want to have the events. They want to have a 9-ball ranking event. They have such a powerful tool because they're promotion companies, and they're very good at what they do. They should be exploiting this. I mean,
Right.
turning stone, like, you want to be a ranking event, boom, you got to have magic rack or template rack winter break. I mean, they can, and charge a 2% fee or something like that. I don't know. You
What are
can
they adding Turning Stone, Pedozzo? Like 25,000?
25,000 for the past 30 years.
Yeah.
So I mean,
But
there's
Mike's never wanted to have anything to do with anybody else. So
yeah,
No.
well, you're right, because I've heard the same thing, but I also heard that after Matchroom announced that they did finally go and reach out. I think there's other events that are going to guarantee the money to, and I think going forward you can go and say, hey, we are going to be more selective. Things like this are not going to go and fly. We got the
well,
Texas Open coming up in August, I think, or the beginning of September. Get just in the 9-ball alone, guaranteed 10,000 added.
20.
You know, is it 20?
It's 20.
So why wouldn't an event like that be and it's 9-ball, it's big table, you know?
But it's 9 on the spot, so they're not going to rank. They're not going to. But
I don't
if
I
Emily
don't think that
switches
matters
on,
right now
yeah,
though. I
no,
don't think that
yeah,
Mm-mm.
they haven't pinned down. They're just trying to get people on board at this point, and their hope is that by next year they can say, okay, here's the blueprint. You have to follow these rules to be a ranking event. But they're helping people get started this year. One, to get players with points, and two, to get promoters to kind of buy into the bigger picture. So I applaud them for that.
yeah,
But hopefully by next year they've got it dialed in where, yeah, you're going to need to have, and eventually a year or two down the road you'll probably have to have, you know a neutral party racking on each table, or those type of things that are going to cost promoters more money. But if they have a year or so head start, knowing that they're going to have to come up with this, they can figure out a way. So I think it's going to take a little time to get all the nuance kind of dialed in, but they're
Right.
working in that direction. This year was kind of a little bit of a free for all, but maybe a little more than they bargained for. Because, I mean, let's face it, Matchroom did not get into business of being essentially the WPA, the broker for tournaments and dates and all that stuff, and they've kind of taken that on. So, it's going to take a little bit of time for all that to really flesh out.
Have
Yeah,
you
I
looked
agree.
into at all having hosting an event there at your room?
Yeah, I was in London. And I told Emily, I'm like, I'd have an event. I mean, I don't mind. And she just said, okay. And she really didn't say anything else. I mean, I'm already adding a lot, you know. I mean, what's the difference if I just put that 9 ball stamp?
Stamp on there,
Yeah, for
yeah,
me, it doesn't matter. I mean, I'd love it to have it here. I mean, I got a tournament room. I have 8 diamond tables, all pro cut pockets, and we have really realistically like 24 tournament style tables. The other 8 out in the back are Gold Crown fours with extended rails, and then they're all 4 1/4 Gold Crowns, and the diamonds are 4 1/2. And then I got the APA section, which is generous cut. But yeah, I mean, I have the square footage to host a big event if I really wanted to.
How optimistic are you that like changes like this are actually going to be put in place? Like we've seen it already with them, at least being open and the not from the one on the spot to the nine on the spot.
Mhm.
How about on a subject like this?
I think they're going to be really open to it. I mean, it's their brand, and the players are their customers essentially. They can't really do much without having the employees. Excuse me, the players are their employees essentially. They can't really create a product without the employees being happy. Um, so it would make sense that Emily has tournaments that cater, that brings out, makes the players happy, and keeps supporting their events. I mean, to be honest with you, do I really want to go back to New Jersey and play this ranking event?
yeah.
No, I don't. I really don't. I mean, like I said, I like Ed. I appreciate everything he's done, but I don't want to go back. And I'm ranked number 2 in the U.S. according to this ranking system, and I don't want to go. I'm going to go because I'd be an idiot not to. Um, but no, I don't want to go. If I don't want to go, how do you think everyone else feels that isn't ranked number 2 or ranked number 5 in the U.S.? Of course, they're not going to want to go.
What say you, Mike?
Well, I mean, I understand exactly what he's talking about, and you'd have to look at the rankings at that point and see if there's a potential that's another $4,000 first prize. Is that going to move the needle enough for you to spend 2,000 to do it? So, those are decisions that players, as it gets later into the year, players will have a little more in front of them about what kind of movement they can make on the chart, right? And that may discourage some players from going too. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, but doesn't it give those stronger maybe players that are regional more of an edge then because it's right there? I mean, and a lot of the big boys aren't going to go and show up because of the lack of added money, but yet it's a quote unquote matchroom ranking event.
Sure.
I think there has to be some accountability, and unfortunately, it takes things like this to go and maybe put a fire under their ass. Because things like this may have just been talked about when it comes to players, like in the next event or when y'all went to go have dinner, but it's got to be more transparent and out in the open, because there has to be more consistency from a promoter standpoint, from a player standpoint. And if you want to be considered a professional sport, right, Mike? I mean, this is something that has to be across the board. You got to have standards. You got to guarantee the money for these guys, so that way it's already tough enough if the money was guaranteed, but then you go and chop it up in half.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty sick.
Know how I stand about that.
Yeah, it's brutal, man. I mean, this life is not easy. It's and it's painful to watch it sometimes. Like I know how hard it is for players to do it because I was there my whole life, and now that I'm working, it's like I said, this is extra. So it's expensive. You know what I mean? It's
let me
expensive.
let me ask you on a personal note. Why are you chasing it again?
It's a great question. Very good question, Mike.
Should I ask Desiree?
No, actually, it's no, it's actually really funny you bring that up. Um, I just want to stick it to everybody. If you want to know the truth, you know,
I'm all for that.
if you really want to know the truth, my ego's hurt over the years. I've been screwed so many times, and I just have a real bad taste in my mouth. And I'm 37, and I know I still got a lot of tread left on these tires, and I'm beating a lot of these people who play for a living, playing for 45 minutes a week. And it's reassuring to me inside my heart. I say, you know what? I deserve to be there. I I know I'm good enough. I'm literally playing about 45 minutes a week. Full disclosure. Now, if I'm making the cup, I'm actually going to increase that to 8 hours a day. I'm going to, I'll hire extra staff. I don't give a shit. But I just want to stick it to everybody that's always talk shit. If you really want to know the truth, my ego stinks when I read the bullshit that I read that this guy should way better than this guy. And I'm like, where's everyone been for the past 15, 20 years? I mean, I've been beating up on players I beat Mario He for 15,000, Alex Kazakis for 15,000. I beat Albin Ocean for like 800 gambling even. It's like no one ever gave me the credit I felt like I deserved. So I just want to.
They thought they were stealing.
I thought they were stealing it. I just honestly, like, I'll be dead honest. I
You
should
know,
want to stick it to everybody one last time.
it's the players. I think respect you and know how good you are.
No,
But
not really. I don't think so. I
how?
disagree.
Okay.
I disagree. I think I've been overlooked by everybody, and that's okay. I made my living, so I'm very grateful for the disrespect I got my whole career. I'm very grateful for it. In retrospect, I should be happy that I never got the credit I got, um, because I won a lot of money because of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I remember betting 25,000 in a set where they thought I was getting stone hijacked, and I took every side bet. I mean, we ended up betting 37,000, and you know, for
You
you
can't.
know,
No one will ever go and deny the heart you got. Because I remember, I think it was, when was the last time you played Omar? Last year?
last year,
So
yeah.
last year. So Omar's coming off of the second place finish in the World Championships, and Oscar sends me a message. She said, "Mike, I'm thinking about going and playing Omar again." And I was like, look, man. I mean, you're my friend and all, but this, I was like, this may not be, this may not be the best game. And he was like, "Why? Nah, man. Last time we got a lot of history." And I said, "Oscar, I don't know, man. Because I don't like to sugarcoat it with my friends. I like to keep it real with them." And Oscar, to his credit, said, "I got it, man. I got it. I'm not worried about it." Then he ended up going hill, and it was a pretty strong battle between you two. And you're right. You get a lot of disrespect, but you also show a lot of heart, man. And I don't think anyone can go and deny that from you or take that from you ever. And I like it though. Listen, you smartened up, you got yourself your own room. You're making money the right way, and now you're able to go and just show them you still got some gas left in the tank, man.
Yeah, and I actually
And
just
really, going back to the international, you've been playing some phenomenal pool, with some top players, So
yeah, I
even
lost at
after,
Filler Hill.
mm-hmm,
I should have
which you
won,
should have
but
won,
I
yeah,
was so
should have
sick.
won.
But I mean, I make
Uh,
the Mosconi Cup team if they have no choice if I win that match. And I knew
oh,
coming in that was a $30,000 match.
mm. I was
Uh,
on I was on dead tilt, Mike. I'm watching it. I don't think Desiree had the pass at the time, but Oscar goes up early, so Des is texting me, and she's like, "How's he doing?" And I'm there like rooting, like I'm at the baseball game. I'm at Yankee Stadium. Get in the hole, ball. And oh god, he took such a big lead. I think he was up like 6-2 or something, six
yeah.
one.
And then he started
Oh,
just whacking at the balls and kicking, hooking me back. Oh
so
God,
sick. Well,
what a great talent he is, though. Oh, fun fact: I didn't break even. I actually beat him gambling when he was 16 or 17.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I don't think you
there
want
you
that
go.
smoke these days, my man. But listen, an
Oh no,
event like
I'll
this,
take a big spot.
I like it. I like it. An event like this, there's a lot of potential, and I like the direction that everyone's going in. But you got to have some accountability. It takes away from what was a great event. Congratulations to Greg, because I didn't get to watch a whole hell of a lot, but he had a lot of good scalps, on his belt there, going and beating, and Danny for coming in second. If I look at that players list, those guys aren't at the top of who
No.
I'm picking to go and win that event.
Right.
It probably starts with Jason and maybe Oscar's number two. You know,
Yeah,
I
probably
can't.
number two. DeBrail's got to be up there. He's playing real good.
Yeah.
Um, but it's
So I mean,
funny because I like the equipment's designed for Greg's game. Slow tables, and he's got a huge stroke. I mean, he hits the balls hard. Like he was hitting some balls at some speed. I'd break my arm if I hit him that hard. I mean, he's a big, strong guy, so it's like totally uh, designed for him. And he's got a huge stroke, and he played really well. I mean, the guy beat me. Fuck. I mean, I had I had one chance to make it a little closer, and I think I dogged it. But yeah, you played good.
yeah, I'm glad I wasn't watching a whole lot because I'm probably laying games taking you, and I probably, I probably, I probably would have been paying off, but I did not get to watch a whole lot of that event. But you know what? A lot of it really was because of the players list. To be honest with you, I mean, I see it and I just think, okay, I think Jason's stealing. I think Oscar's stealing. I think that's who I would probably
Yeah,
predict to go and be in the finals. I mean, I know it's 9 ball and it can be a little bit more gambling, but I expect more of the cream to rise to the top. But you know what? Guys like that, they deserve all the credit because they delivered, and Greg got there, Danny got there in the finals, so kudos to them.
yeah,
I hope we get to go and just like I don't want it to be just a shit talking party on whoever it is. Like that's not what we're here for. But at the same time, I think we got to go and call a spade. And when things like this go and happen, I think this is the way that we go and move forward. Is just, hey man, it's not going to go and fly, or at least make sure that players like yourselves know what you're getting into ahead of time.
right, right.
Not when you're about to play for the hot seat.
Yeah,
May
that
not
was
be the
kind of
best time.
brutal. Jason
Yeah.
really had a tough time. Jason was very vocal about it. He wasn't holding anything back, and I did feel bad for Ed just because I know he made a big sacrifice. He worked his ass off and prepared the room the best he could. I know he did, and I don't want to speak
But this
poorly
is why
on.
I wanted you on though, because you come from a different aspect, Oscar. Not only are you coming from a player who's traveling, a player who's chasing Mosconi Cup, but by the way, you're also a room owner, so you understand the business side of it too,
Yeah,
and that's the
it's an
reason why I wanted to
expensive.
have you on. And I did go and ask Jason to come on, and unfortunately, scheduling wise, just didn't go and work out, you know. But I mean, it is what it is. Hopefully, there's more great events coming up. I know you got a lot of things going on, so we're gonna go and end it right here.
Mhm.
But we appreciate you, man. And I hope you continue just keep on pushing forward. You're doing great.
Thank you, of course.
So keep firing away, Oscar. Where will we see you next when it comes to ranking events?
I'm taking a couple of weeks off. I don't really have much. I'm going to focus on the business, and then I have my Brendan Crockett Memorial
Great.
in July. I'm playing Omar Al Shaheen again. I just called him today.
Breaking
Um,
news.
yeah, say, come on down, buddy. Flip the coin. We're going to do a race of 75, 10 ball over 3 days because that race to 100 is a little too much. And, I'm 37. I'm not 21 anymore.
You gonna
And yeah, we're going to do that. Probably bet, you know, minimum 10. I'm not going to waste his time for less than 10. And yeah, it'll be something fun to do. And then we have the Brendan, and the week before is I have a 1,500 added one pocket. So I'm adding 1,500. Then I add 10,000 for the Brendan. And the following week, I add another 10,000 for the juniors.
yeah, great.
And hopefully I beat Omar so I can help offset some of my added money. Fuck, because I'm like, God damn, I got to
Well,
pull out 21.5 in
you can
2 weeks.
you can rob Federer while he's out there.
Oh yeah, Federer's
Uh,
coming. Yeah, Federer's coming in 2 weeks. He's gonna just hang out. He says, I really don't want to give lessons. I really don't want to work. I just want to hang out and have dinner because I take him to all the nice restaurants around here,
Nice.
and he just loves it.
He's
you
such a
spoiled them. You
I
spoiled them.
did
That's what
spoil
it
him.
is.
I did spoil him and Christina, I think so. But yeah, they're such good kids, and they're always gambling with the locals, and they're giving lessons, and it's nice for the pool room to. I mean,
yeah.
how often do you have a world champion in your pool room just hanging out, wanting to hang out with you?
Yeah.
It's a credit to you.
Well,
I ain't kissing your ass, but that's why a lot of people do go and I mean I give you respect all the time, but I've never heard too many people going and dog the person you are, you know.
yes. Uh,
So
every once in a while, you get a couple of complaints, but you know what? You can't always be the nicest guy in business. That's what I'm
yeah.
learning.
Well, yeah, we won't go there. But anyway,
Yeah.
Oscar, I appreciate it. Mike, I appreciate you. We'll cut it short, and yeah, we'll see you guys soon, man. We appreciate everyone for tuning in as well.